Hello everybody, this is toysareruss, and for this third-party figure comparison video review, we're going to be looking at Newage's take on a Generation 1 Mirage figure. So this is just going to be a comparison between, at the time of making this video, the latest version of Mirage, and of course a quick look at his Generation 1 original self. Quick reminder, there is also a video review and separate transformation tutorial already up on the channel if you want to see them as well. So yeah, so this is, he's called Shean here. That is because Newage figures aren't licensed by Hasbro or Takara because they transform, so they can't use the proper name. We're going to have a look at both particular modes. We're going to have a look at the accessories, and I've just unfortunately again realized how battered one of my original vintage Mirage figures is. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, these are dubbed mini masterpiece figures because of A, how small they are, and obviously B, because they've got masterpiece sort of style articulation. These come in roughly round about core class figure. However, some of the figures, as you can see in a second, let me just make sure it doesn't fall over, are much bigger, but they do all sort of scale with each other. But the majority of them, especially the Autobot cars, are looking at to be around about core class size. So you can tell, you can see all the joints on them. Again, if you've seen the review, you will know how articulate it is. Pretty much, in honesty guys, exactly the same articulation as the latest incarnation, which is a deluxe figure. So they've pretty much got everything right, you know, the whole look of it. Obviously the main things that are missing are sort of like Autobot logos and branding and things like that, again because they're not licensed to. But you can obviously tell by looking at it that it is a Mirage figure. Obviously this figure was out before it was a Transformer, so it's, the toy came before the actual character, if that makes sense. Whereas with this one now, obviously we now know the character as Mirage, and he's got a few different subtle differences. But the head sculpt is great. The weapons are again brilliant. They're just smaller. You can see there, it's just a smaller scaled down version of what the Deluxe has got. I suppose the bonus or the advantage that this one's got is you can change between the two things between each mode, so that can fit in there. But overall, it's, as I say, it's really good. You've got the knee bend, you've got everything that you have in the Deluxe figure, to be honest, absolutely everything. Unfortunately, there's no ab crunch with this guy, and there's no wrist swivel due to his size, but in a lot of the Newage products you do actually get them. So there's not much more to say or to show you in the differences between these in robot mode. Let's come back very quickly then and have a look at the alternate mode. So we're back, and they're all in their alternate modes, and again this is, I suppose, where you just get to see how much smaller this particular figure is than the others. There's a huge size difference between there and the Deluxe, and I suppose that's basically what these new figures do boil down to. They boil down to how much space you've got. In some cases they boil down to budget as well, because this is slightly more expensive than your standard Deluxe figure, but again you've got die-cast parts there and die-cast parts tucked away. Some of the third-party figures are indeed quite a bit more than your standard Deluxe figures, and that's again exactly why I'm doing, I suppose, these comparisons for you, because although third-party is something that I don't necessarily collect, it's good to show you the differences exactly like we're doing now. So of course, again, it's a brilliant homage to the original, which you can see there. You could say that's chrome, obviously, because it is the die cast on there. But of course, unfortunately for Hasbro, they don't really use chrome at all anymore, and it would just be so good if they did. But of course, if they did, the prices, of course, then would skyrocket. With the Newage figures, you can't store, in this particular one anyway, you can't store any of the weapons or accessories anywhere on it. That might... No, I don't know if that'll fit or not in the alternate mode, but you'd have to change it during the transformation process. Anyway, you can, of course, with the Takara, with the Hasbro ones, because of all the 5mm ports, you can put the weapons on. I'm not saying you'd want to, I'm just showing you that that's something that you can do. And as I said at the very sort of beginning of this particular section, it's just down to personal preference and indeed budgets. I know lots of people who've gone to the third-party route because a lot of things, you know, down to space. There's a huge difference between this figure and this figure when you put them on a shelf. And as I say, I've sometimes these, you know, transformation processes are indeed very clever and, you know, quite intuitive. A lot of the time as well with other companies, they're just really annoying and overly complicated, but with this one I do actually like it. So in honesty, again, obviously I think myself I probably prefer the Generation 1 just because I'm a bit daft like that. But with these, the purpose of this video is exactly that, just to give you a bit of an education on it and just to show you the differences, because people have asked. So yeah, it boils down to budget and indeed shelf space. So there you go guys, let me know what you think in the comments, and of course, take care.